Praise the Lord. Four-way. Page Room 112, where the players dwell. Information in the book Propaganda by Ellul, Chapter 2, last section, the conditions for the existence of propaganda. Information. Of course, basic education permits the dissemination not only of propaganda, but of information in general. Here we meet with a new condition for propaganda. Contrary to the simplistic differentiation between propaganda and info, we have demonstrated a close relationship. In reality, to distinguish exactly between propaganda and info is impossible. Besides, information is an essential element of propaganda. For propaganda to succeed, it must have reference to political or economic reality. Doctrinal or historical argument is only incidentally effective in propaganda. See, I was just listening to some music today, and I was thinking about my videos in YouTube and how the really sexy ones that are really eye-catching and entertaining, they tend to have less useful relevance than the stuff that is more painful to watch and pay attention to. When you have to concentrate on it, then I feel that maybe it has some value, you know? It's not just trying to get your attention like a thought, you know? Anyway, where were we? Doctrinal or historical argument is only incidentally effective in propaganda. It has power only in connection with the interpretation of events. Doctrinal or historical argument is only incidentally effective. It has an effect only when opinion is already aroused, troubled, or oriented in a certain direction by a political or economic event. And that tells you why censorship is such a big deal, because of how the managers are managing our political and economic events and reality, and our reality. Therefore, when you have the reality, then you can easily affect the event too, in the population. So we gotta really stand up. Get up, stand up for your spice. Stand up for your spice, legalize it. It grafts itself into this doctrinal or information does, onto an already existing psychological reality. Oh wow, so you're building trees on top of trees, so you got to be careful what kind of material you're using, definitely. Thank you, Chris. Such psychological reactions are generally of brief duration. Chris on Facebook, that is. Such psychological reactions are generally of brief duration and must be systematically sustained and renewed. So they're saying that psychological reactions to the information propaganda are of brief duration and must be systematically sustained and renewed. That's what I learned when I took a break from the rat race and living with my parents. I find that when I slow things down in life, that's what I mean. When I slow things down, then I tend to notice these reactions more, and therefore I can protect myself better. But when I have to work for money and survival, it's hard to do that. To the extent that they will be prolonged and renewed, they will create an informed opinion. This informed opinion is indispensable for propaganda. Where we have no informed opinion with regard to political or economic affairs, propaganda cannot exist. For this reason, in most of the older countries, propaganda was localized and restricted to those groups which had direct contact with political life. It was not designed for the masses indifferent to such questions. Because they were uninformed. The masses cannot be interested in political and economic questions or in the great, this is what Alan Watt says, this is his great problem, because he's not as famous as the Beatles when he should be. He's definitely more talented than them. The masses cannot be interested in political and economic questions or in the great ideological debates based on them until mass media of communication. So thankfully he's not that famous, because otherwise he would have been dead earlier. Like Alex Jones has been threatened many times. Until mass media of communication disseminate information to the public. Wow. So propaganda runs our minds, basically. That's one of my family members who works in media told us. We know that the most difficult to reach are the peasants, for a variety of reasons already pointed out. But another essential reason is that they are uninformed. That's why Trump was so great, because he represented the peasant, even though he wasn't. He was the opposite. But he represented their voice. So that was a great thing in our world of propaganda, I thought, you know. That's why I was seen as a Trump supporter, even though I wasn't a Trump supporter. I saw he was just the other side of the false evil wing of the evil eagle of Uncle Sam, you know. And Uncle Tom was the same. Uncle Thomas, Uncle Tom, sorry, is the same as Uncle Sam. Right. The left wing and the right wing. I guess Uncle Tom is the right wing and Uncle Sam is the left wing. Because he's like light skinned and white is black, you know? Anyway, but now it's orange is black or whatever. So I'm really not as hip as Americans are. Or as square, I mean. We know that the most difficult to reach are the peasants for a variety of reasons, blah blah blah. Studies of rural milieus have shown that propaganda begins to bite among peasants at the exact moment when information is promulgated there, when facts become known and attention to certain questions is aroused, and so forth. You can read the rest yourself. You can all check it out. Peace.